Starts right now.
And we're starting with some late-breaking news happening right now. Sheriff Javier Salazar providing a live update.
According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, deputies conducted a traffic stop that led to undocumented immigrants being found. Erica Hernandez is at that press conference, and she's going to bring us some details in just a few minutes.
Meantime, the other developing story new this noon, the state now addressing the wintry weather that's expected to hit much of the state this week.
The governor and his team just wrapped up a press conference in Austin. He says agencies are already working to make sure nothing like last year's major disruption happens again. That's
even though the weather is not expected to be quite as bad as it was last February. That wintry weather expected to roll through over the next few days. The Public Utility Commission has held meetings on winter weather preparation, and they've inspected the power generators all across the state.
Yeah, the governor says at least 90% of those generators are up and running. Electricity needs are expected to peak on Friday morning, and ERCOT and PUC says they are ready.
We've been working for the last year to make sure that this grid is more reliable than it ever has been in the past, and it is. We've taken a number of actions to make sure that our generators are ready, that our transmission system is ready, and they have responded. They've responded. And as the chairman just said a moment ago, they have passed the inspections that we've gone out and tested them on. So we feel very comfortable at their level of readiness. In addition to that, we have been working to improve communications, and we're working daily and daily calls to talk to all of the communicators across the industry to make sure that during this storm you get one message from the folks in the industry and not several. We are ready for this storm. We'll be prepared for this. We have about 71,000 megawatts of expected load, which will be a record for ERCOT during the winter. 71,000 megawatts of load, but at the same time, we have 86,000 megawatts of available generation. Some of that coming from the western part of the country, over 10,000 megawatts of wind that we're getting out of the western part of the country for both Thursday and Friday. We'll be ready and ready to answer questions.
The state there trying to calm any fears. The governor said that various state agencies will also keep updating resources online so people can access the help that they may need.
And TxDOT will update road conditions at drivetexas.org, and warming centers will be listed on tdem.texas.gov. They'll also provide a tool to help people find plumbers if needed.
We do not want a repeat of what happened last year. And right now, it's hard to imagine that that's right around the corner.
We've got that big front moving through here, and it's going to be tomorrow night into Thursday. The biggest concern really is the cold temperatures, because we are going to be seeing the coldest ones so far this season, and it's going to last a good long time. Again, nothing like what we had a year ago. Look outside right now, and of course we had all those clouds and some fog this morning, a little bit of mist and drizzle, and now things are starting to clear out rather nicely. And as you can see on the visible satellite picture, a few more clouds left over to the east and more clearing off to the west, so more sunshine today. And temperature right now, we are in the 60s as of right now, and we're going to continue to warm up into the low 70s. So again, what to plan for? Windy and cold Thursday and Friday. As the front moves on through here, temperatures obviously will continue to drop down, and winds are going to be very blustery. So wind chills Thursday and Friday morning especially, and we are going to be below freezing. We should here in town drop below freezing sometime about say midday on Thursday and not get back above freezing, because we're going to drop down to right around the low 20s Friday morning and then not get back above freezing until about 20 hours later, 24 hours later. Obviously a longer span of time below freezing in portions of the hill country. Cold rain Thursday here in town, and in the hill country is where we're going to be seeing the chance for some light mix. And it's a very fine line, as it always is. Going to show you the latest computer model data and where we think when the cold air is going to be coming in here, when the moisture is going to be leaving, and then how long we stay with some frigid temperatures, because it is going to be very cold. Details coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Mike. An overnight shooting on a dead-end street so far has San Antonio police running into dead ends in their investigation.
They say they have more questions than answers about this case. Police found the wounded man on a street called Leopold, not too far from South Presa and Carolina streets.
But as Katrina Weber reports, they have not found the shooter.
A call about gunshots right around 4 this morning led San Antonio police to the victim of that shooting. They found a 55-year-old man on the ground with several gunshot wounds in the 200 block of Leopold. Police say neighbors noticed him there after hearing the gunfire. One man told us he heard as many as 7 shots ring out, then heard the man crying out for help. The victim of the shooting was in critical condition when he was rushed to a hospital. Investigators, meanwhile, were slow and thorough, spending more than an hour walking through the neighborhood, talking to people and looking for clues.
There's an incident right next to the home here.
They told us none of their efforts paid off right away. One big question that police are trying to answer is why the victim was on this out-of-the-way dead-end street. Both they and neighbors say he didn't appear to live here. Police did find his car here, though, parked at the end of the short block. They had it towed away for investigation. They also spent a lot of time focusing on the space between 2 houses, where they seemed to find most of their evidence, shell casings from the gun. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
An overnight rollover on the northwest side, sending one person to the hospital. It happened around 2:15 this morning on Babcock near De Zavala. Police say the driver of the vehicle lost control, causing that vehicle to flip over onto some trees or into some trees. The passenger taken to the hospital, but is doing all right now. We're told alcohol was not a factor in this crash. And no word on what sparked a fire at a vacant restaurant overnight just west of downtown. It happened around 11 o'clock on South Brazos Street, not too far from I-10. Firefighters say this restaurant was fully engulfed when they got there. The building destroyed. No reports, though, of any injury.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. Most of the country is seeing new case averages declining as the Omicron variant loosens its grip on the U.S. And some encouraging news for parents. New reports say Pfizer could apply for emergency use authorization for its COVID vaccine for children as young as 6 months old as early as today. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
American children as young as 6 months old could soon get protected from COVID-19, with Pfizer planning to request emergency use authorization of its vaccine for kids under 5, according to the Washington Post. More than 28 million eligible children are still unvaccinated, some facilities still overwhelmed, hospitals in Nebraska battling their highest patient loads in more than a year.
I've never taken care of these sick of patients in my entire life. Moments can be life or death to them. It's scary and it takes a toll on you physically, mentally and emotionally.
But 38 states are reporting a decrease in average daily COVID cases, and data shows new pediatric cases dropped last week for the first time since Thanksgiving.
Endemic doesn't necessarily mean that the virus is gone or that it's necessarily safe. We may see more variants, we may see more surges. We are moving to a point where we can manage those things without disrupting our lives as much. And that's the mindset we have to get into.
Monmouth University is out with a new poll showing 70% of Americans say it's time to accept that COVID is here to stay and that, quote, we just need to get on with our lives.
And in other vaccine news, Moderna's COVID vaccine is now joining Pfizer, with the FDA giving full approval to their 2-shot dose on Monday. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The pandemic's been tough on a wide variety of industries, including gyms. Coming up in the next half hour, what one group is doing to help those businesses in our area.
And Tom Brady finally makes it official. He has announced on social media he's retiring. Some of what he said and why Patriot fans are pretty upset. Coming up in sports.
Nonprofits in San Antonio working to increase breast cancer awareness. We're going to take a look at some of the events taking place this February. About 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer in their lifetime, but early detection can save lives. That's according to the American Cancer Society. 2 local nonprofits are teaming up and hosting a free breast cancer screening and awareness day to help women who are uninsured and low income. Tiffany Huertas has a look at how this event will help women in our community.
I know that early detection is the key because where it was located, I could not feel it. It wasn't palpable. I didn't have any other signs and symptoms that some have with breast cancer.
Charlotte Davis, the president of the nonprofit Black Nurses Rock San Antonio, says early detection of breast cancer saved her life.
When I got diagnosed, I was looking for that support group, and that's when I ran into the Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation.
For about 20 years, the Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation has been helping people in our community by hosting several mammogram events. And this Saturday at the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, the Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation and Black Nurses Rock San Antonio are teaming up to host a free mammogram event. This is the first time this breast cancer screening event is happening on the east side, making it easier for people to access care.
They don't have the accessibility to come to the hospital or come to some of the doctor's office or clinic.
The event was created to help women ages 40 to 64 who are either uninsured or have a low income.
Especially with the Black community, the incidence of breast cancer is higher, and usually it's at a later stage. So it's really important to get those mammograms.
Although you need an appointment to receive the screening this weekend, the Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation says they will not turn anybody away and can help you if you call them. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
We want to get you back to that late breaking news. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office say they have now uncovered a human smuggling operation.
Erica Hernandez has been there this morning. She's live at the scene with the details. So, Erica, we hear that this just started as a simple traffic stop.
Yeah, it started with a motorcycle deputy just after 8:30 this morning doing a traffic stop over by Shepherd Road when a concerned citizen came up to that deputy saying they saw some people being forced into a white van. That is when that deputy pursued that van, who sped off into this driveway. He gave pursuit to that van and ended up in this driveway here in Atascosa, Texas. That driver then jumped out of that van and fled the scene. The people inside were 8 men and one woman. The deputy had to help them get out. Sheriff Salazar tells us that they are in okay condition, but are of course frightened because of the situation, that they hadn't been fed in 2 days, and that they had to provide them with food and water out of their own pocket to make sure that they were fed and well taken care of. Those 8 people are still here at the scene. They're waiting for federal agents to come and transfer them out. Right now, drones had just been launched to look for that driver of that van who fled the scene. I do want to make it clear that even though that this van drove into this driveway, this residence has nothing to do with the situation. It was just a random driveway that he drove into. Now, this is an ongoing investigation. Like I said, that driver is still on the run, and we'll have more on this later this afternoon and to see if they actually catch that suspect. Ursula, David.
Thank you very much, Erica. Live outside. Well, another one of those warm days. You better enjoy it because things are about to get chilly.
Yes, indeed. We got the front moving on through. And of course, everybody is concerned, and rightly so, with the wintry precipitation, which will be, looks like, limited in most of the hill country. But what's going to affect all of us are the cold temperatures. We are looking at low temperatures down in the lower 20s by Friday morning as well as Saturday morning, and winds on top of that Thursday and Friday. Yeah, it is going to be brutally cold. We'll get everything all sorted out. Who's going to see what sort of precipitation and everything coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Good time to check the stack of firewood. Check your heater.
Check. And I know we're not supposed to be paranoid like this is the big freeze again from last year. But I caught myself. I went to the grocery store and I got an extra jug of water. I don't know. We're all just a little nervous.
Yes, and now elsewhere in the state, as like the governor was talking about, and everyone, it's going to be a lot more further up to the north. But here in town, it's not going to be anything like what it was last year. Now, one thing, yes, like Dave was talking about, with the firewood, and also when it comes to heating. If using in sort of a space heater, make sure you check that out. Don't have it anywhere near anything combustible. Don't use anything from outside coming inside to heat. nothing like that. So, okay, outside right now. And we do have a couple of days to prepare because we got a nice warm day today, got a nice warm day tomorrow with a little bit of rain thrown in there. But yeah, we do have some sunshine finally out there, and temperatures already up to 64 degrees. Add about another 8 to that, and that's what our high is going to be today. So we're at pretty much just about our normal high. Compare that to yesterday, we're already above what the high temperature was. Now, we had a little more clearing down to the southwest, so we got in the mid to upper 70s, but we stayed at 60 yesterday. And then, like I said, a whole different story today. And that's very important, too. This nice warm air, nice warm ground. Same thing tomorrow. So when the cold air initially comes in here with some of the precipitation, the ground everywhere, hill country included, is going to be very, very warm. So it's just the elevated surfaces that there's going to be any sort of concern. Okay, let's talk about the wind and the humidity. So humidity it's there. That's why we had some fog. There may be a little bit of it tomorrow. And going into tomorrow, then throughout the day, yes, it will be somewhat on the humid side. That's going to help to feed some of those showers. Now, as we go into the evening hours, here's the front that comes on through. It's going to be coming through initially, it looks like about, say, 10 o'clock or so. The wind's going to shift around, and that pulls in that very, very dry air. It's going to be very windy overnight, and obviously the colder air then starts to work its way on in here. Now, as far as freezing temperatures, by just after midnight Thursday morning, we'll start to see some of that freezing air work its way into the hill country, not here in town. And this computer model has been fairly consistent with this, that throughout the morning hours, temperatures right here, say along 90, even going in toward New Braunfels, are going to be just a little bit above freezing now. And it also looks like that there's going to be warm enough air upstairs in the atmosphere. Now, with the freezing temperatures there on the surface in the hill country, then we're going to have a little bit of sleet or maybe some freezing rain in portions of the hill country. But this is very important that all through the morning hours, these temperatures stay above freezing. I think we finally dipped below freezing here in town, probably mid-afternoon as it looks. Now, as far as precipitation, we start to see, well, we've got showers, a couple of thunderstorms are going to be possible late tomorrow during the second half of the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. And some of that rain continues. Now, with those freezing temperatures, that's when you get the mixed precipitation in portions of the hill country. And again, this is pretty much confined in the hill country. Now, going out 10, you may run into some problems on the overpasses going up 281 in toward the hill country. But again, this stays in the liquid form with these temperatures that are going to be above freezing here in town. Could there be a little chunky rain, as I call it, in town? That is going to be possible, but it's not going to be as much as in the hill country. And once temperatures finally drop down below freezing, the moisture is getting on out of here. So the timing for in and around Bexar County metropolitan area going up in toward New Braunfels is working out quite well with this. But again, the wintry precipitation, the chance in the hill country. And so there is a winter storm watch that was issued earlier this morning, in effect until 6 o'clock Thursday evening for the hill country. It does not include New Braunfels nor San Antonio. But again, this is not just it's not a wall setup. It's not a straight line. There can be, a little variation here and there along there. So that's definitely something, especially northwestern Bexar County, need to watch out for. Satellite picture right now. Had all those clouds that continue to clear out quite nicely. And just looking at this picture, and look at the moisture starting to develop in this line from the Great Lakes all the way down in toward, almost getting in toward Oklahoma and the northern portion of the state, and brutally cold temperatures. And this is going to be a swath of a winter storm all the way from the northern half of the state. I mean, Dallas is going to be, in fact, in air travel, because, when Dallas gets hit, everybody kind of that ripple effect from that, but that's going to be all the way up in toward the Great Lakes. 2 below, that's the actual air temperature right now in Cutbank, Montana. 24 below is the wind chill right now. So there's the front. That cold air continues to push down in here, and it's going to be sticking around. So we're looking at, like I said, some very, very cold temperatures by especially Friday morning and then especially Saturday morning. So 72 degrees today. Once again, it's going to be from one extreme to the other. We're going to be looking at about between today's high temperature, even tomorrow about 70, and the low Friday, we're looking at 50 degrees difference just about. We'll have partly cloudy skies today. Tomorrow, 70, very mild start. Watch out for a little bit of fog in the morning. We'll have a couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms that are going to be developing here. Front moves through late tomorrow night and then continues to bring in colder air throughout the day on Thursday. But again, here in town, as it's looking right now, we stay just above freezing, so we shouldn't have the big impacts from any sort of mixed precipitation, but different story in the hill country where there is the chance for that. And then we get down to 23 Friday, 25 on Saturday, and the winds on Friday especially are going to put those wind chills well down into the teens. It's going to be windy on Thursday as well. We'll barely touch freezing again on Sunday morning, and it's going to stay very cold. It's going to stay pretty chilly even going into next week. But again, the cold is really the big thing I think we have to worry about with this, especially Friday morning and Saturday morning.
All right, lot to watch. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. The GOAT heading out to pasture, but taking a little controversy with him. And the Spurs getting ready for 3 games in 4 nights here at home before the rodeo road trip coming up. After a weekend of speculation today, quarterback Tom Brady made it official. He announced on Instagram that he is retiring from football. There were reports this weekend that he was going to retire. Then he said that, the news was a little early, but today he released a statement that was several pages long on the social media site. After 22 seasons and at the age of 44, he has decided it's time to move on to other ventures. In his statement, he talks about the competition, the friendships he's made. Interestingly, he talks about his 2 seasons with the Bucs, but does not even mention his years with New England. Here's a part of what Brady wrote on that statement today. This is difficult for me to write, but here goes. I am not going to make the competitive commitment anymore. I have loved my NFL career, and now it's time to focus my time on other things that require my attention. My playing career has been such a thrilling ride, far beyond my imagination. Land full of ups and downs. When you're in it every day, you really don't think of any kind of ending. As I sit here now, however, I think of all the great players and coaches I was privileged to play with and against. The competition was fierce and deep, just how we like it. And he is leaving the NFL with some serious records. 22 seasons, 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 Super Bowl wins, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 NFL MVPs, most playoff wins, most TDs in NFL history. And that's just a few of the records that Tom Brady leads with. But once again, Tom Brady has decided to retire. The Spurs are retiring to the road here after this week when the rodeo moves into the AT&T Center. But until then, they've got 3 games in 4 nights. It gets started with the Golden State Warriors tonight. They host Steph Curry, who is struggling from the 3-point range lately. Maybe he'll struggle tonight. It's a tip-off at 7:30, let's just say tonight, at the AT&T Center.
I'm just going to say,
okay,
I already miss Brady.
Already?
That really saddens me.
He just left a few hours ago.
I know.
Wow.
Not great news. Okay. A flight from Ghana landing in Washington with one more passenger on board than it took off with. The mother had to give birth while the plane was over the Atlantic Ocean. How a passenger and a flight attendant helped deliver the little baby.
How do you put that down on the birth certificate? Where the baby was born?
Yeah, good point.
New today at 5, with cold weather approaching, more people are going to be getting out those space heaters and generators. Mike just talked about this a second ago. Today at 5, the safety tips you need to know before using that heating equipment.
Questioning of potential jurors begins this week for the trial of a former Kentucky police officer involved in a botched drug raid that killed 26-year-old Breonna Taylor. Brett Hakeson is standing trial on 3 counts of wanton endangerment for allegedly firing wildly into Taylor's neighbor's apartments in March of 2020. Taylor was shot multiple times during that raid. No drugs were found, and the warrant was later found to be flawed. Hakeson is the only officer facing any criminal charges from that incident. And the chief medical examiner who ruled George Floyd's death a homicide will return to the stand today. It's for the trial of 3 former Minneapolis police officers. They are charged with violating Floyd's civil rights. Prosecutors say the 3 men deprived Floyd of his rights when they failed to give him medical aid as Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck. 2 of the 3 officers are also accused of failing to intervene. Defense attorneys are trying to make the case that the officers' training was inadequate and that the police department has a culture that teaches new officers to not question their superiors. They have said that Chauvin, the most senior officer at the scene, took charge the day that Floyd was killed.
And turning now to that late breaking news this morning, a new bomb threat reported at Howard University. ABC's Kenneth Moten is there in Washington, D.C. with the latest on the FBI investigation after multiple threats target at least 6 historically black colleges and universities.
Overnight, Howard University and 5 other HBCUs dealing with bomb threats. This is the third one for Howard in a month. D.C. and campus police locking down this historically black college and university, which has gotten the all clear. The FBI and ATF are investigating these bomb threats made to at least 6 HBCUs this morning, yesterday, and weeks earlier. Bowie State in Maryland, Bethune-Cookman in Florida, Delaware State, all targeted. Authorities found no explosive devices, but of course the threats locked down campuses and canceled classes. Federal and local investigators have not gone into a potential motive here, but officials at these schools say it's clear they're being targeted for being historically black institutions. Members of Congress have already asked the FBI for more information about these threats. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
Now to the heightened tensions between the U.S. and Russia over the threat of war in Ukraine. Secretary of State Antony Blinken continuing diplomatic talks today with his Russian counterpart in an effort to prevent a potential war between Russia and Ukraine. The call coming after the U.S. and Russia engaged in a public diplomatic brawl at the UN Security Council meeting over Russia mobilizing more than 100,000 troops and military hardware on Ukraine's border. The U.S., backed by its NATO allies, accusing Russia of endangering peace and destabilizing global security. Kremlin diplomats dismissing the claim, calling it baseless and accusing the U.S. of trying to provoke armed conflict. Russia has repeatedly denied it has plans to invade.
We want to take a look outside with live cam. Really pretty day out there. A great day to get out, enjoy a little sun. You might need some of that vitamin D.
Yes, indeed. And maybe, prep for the really cold temperatures that are going to be coming in the next couple of days around here. Perhaps wrap up the faucets outside because we will have somewhat of an extended period of below freezing temperatures. So take a look. And again, we keep talking about this. And yes, a lot of people are still a little bit on edge, thinking back to just about 1 year ago. So the comparison, then, this is not going to be a repeat. Of course, last year we were below freezing for 4.5 days. I mean, it was more than 100 hours. This is going to be about 18 hours, maybe close to a day and a half, and obviously longer in portions of the hill country. And that's going to be Thursday into Friday. And then, of course, we had all of that snow, 2 rounds of that snow, the ice and everything. Yes, there's going to be some light mix possible, and that's going to be just confined to Thursday morning. And that's going to be primarily just in the hill country. And, of course, temperatures. Now, temperatures are really going to be the big thing we have to watch out for with this. We, had wind chill or temperatures actually down in the single digits last year. Yes, we are going to be down in the low 20s, and we are going to have some just nasty wind chills Thursday afternoon as well as Friday, but nothing, of course, like what we had last year. So we had fog this morning, mostly sunny skies today, 70s. Tomorrow, showers, couple of storms, still 70s. So the ground is going to be very, very warm, and that's going to help out as far as if there is any wintry precipitation in the hill country, then it's not going to collect on the ground. Now, elevated surfaces, different situation. Winter mix primarily up in the hill country Thursday, and there's that possibility for it cold and windy, and like I said, very, very cold, just frigid mornings Friday morning as well as Saturday morning. Look ahead to the rest of the weekend. Who can see what as far as precipitation? That's coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you so much, Mike. Now, this pandemic has been tough on a wide variety of industries. Small businesses have had to pivot and adjust during the pandemic. So what about the gyms?
Max Massey introduces us to an organization trying to help gyms stay afloat and has some tips on how to stay active.
It's mostly because we've had to figure out how to stay afloat.
Elson Galvan is the owner and founder of Energy X Fitness.
And hopefully, too, as the year goes on, more people understand how important fitness is to a healthy lifestyle.
Allison, one of the members of the San Antonio Fitness Coalition, a group of local gym owners banding together to keep their doors open.
We're not supported by a big business that gives us money to help us stay afloat. We're little people here. And so we are banding together to make sure that we can support one another, get our healthy message out to to the community and hopefully keep thriving past this pandemic.
On the national level, Becky Serrani, the head of the San Antonio Fitness Coalition, tells me they haven't had much support, but they are working with the city.
I would say San Antonio has been incredibly supportive. So we're in the process of speaking with our city council about ARPA funding and making recommendations for gyms to receive grants in San Antonio. San Antonio, of all places, with kind of high rates of diabetes and other types of disease, we need to make sure that our community stays healthy.
Allison, what are some easy ways that people can get fit at home with just their body weight?
Yeah, in general, you can just get moving by walking or running at home. But if you want to get a little bit more technical with your workout, you can do basic things. You can squat, right? Squatting up and down, a bit more strength-based workout. If we want to focus a bit more on our heart, we can take it a little bit higher and go into skaters. So just side to side, one foot to the other. You can decide how fast you go, how low you go, how far you go to make it more intense.
As for Allison, she has big goals for 2022.
Bring more awareness about fitness, not just fitness, but the lack of attention that we were given during the pandemic.
Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
The miracle of birth at 30,000 feet. An even bigger miracle, a doctor and a nurse just happened to be on board this plane. How they jumped into action, still ahead.
An experiment involving frogs is giving scientists hope that they may be able to regrow lost limbs in some animals. Details coming up after the break on that.
One thing not seeing a shortage, frog legs. They taste like chicken, and they likely won't anytime soon. Scientists from Tufts and Harvard universities have very successfully gotten frogs to grow back their amputated legs.
For their experiment, they used aquatic frogs, the same kind you may have seen in aquariums at your local pet store. The researchers made silicone
Do we
caps,
want to watch this?
which resembled tiny thimbles containing drugs to reduce inflammation and help grow blood vessels. Then they amputated the frog's hind legs, put the caps over the wounds for 24 hours. Over the next 18 months, many of the frogs grew new legs that were fully functional and almost as good as the originals.
The biggest thing that the new legs lacked were bones in their toes. The result suggests that frogs and maybe some other animals have dormant regenerative capabilities that can be triggered into action. The study was published in the journal Science Advances. There was a fried frog leg joke in there somewhere. I'm so glad I didn't go there. It's a Louisiana.
You like frog legs, really?
It's a Louisiana thing.
Do frog legs taste like chicken?
They do. Okay. I thought that's where we were going. Okay.
A 12-hour flight took an exciting turn. A woman went into labor. Luckily, a doctor and a nurse were on board.
And they helped the new mom welcome her baby boy inside the plane, 30,000 feet in the air. ABC's Will Gaines has the story.
United Flight 977 from Ghana landed at Washington Dulles on Sunday with one more passenger on board than it took off with.
I woke up Saturday morning not in my wildest dreams.
Dr. Stephen Ansah-Addo says he was about 6 hours into the nearly 12-hour flight when the captain asked if any medical professionals were on board.
I thought maybe somebody may be having stomach ache or heart attack or something. Now, those were the things that I was thinking about as I was walking towards the flight attendant.
What he found instead, a pregnant woman in labor, laying down on pillows and blankets in the area in between cabins. With the help of another nurse on board and a flight attendant who also works as a nurse, Dr. Ansah-Addo performing an assessment.
So then I told them that, no, I think the baby will be coming very soon. It wouldn't even take more than an hour because where the baby was engaged, the baby was fully engaged to come out.
Mom ready to deliver her first child a month earlier than expected. And the nearest airport, Bermuda, too far away. Dr. Ansah-Addo, a dermatology resident, not an OBGYN, jumping into action.
What I was praying for was she having delivering the baby without any complications, because if there were any, there wasn't that much we could do up there.
Thankfully, there were no complications. Mom welcoming a healthy baby boy at 30,000 feet.
Paramedics were ready to meet the plane when the almost 12-hour flight landed in D.C. Mom and baby both doing well this morning, and Dr. Steven tells me Mom was calling the little guy Nolan. Well, what a way to make an entrance, little Nolan. Will Gans, ABC News, New York.
So, where is the baby born? What nationality is the baby? What is country
Atlantic
is the baby
Ocean?
a citizen of?
I think it's his home country. I mean, with the moms, I think in that situation, it sort of defaults to whatever.
But what is the birthplace?
I looked at a bunch of different sites on here, and the nationality can be where the plane is registered.
Oh,
really?
That's
so he could have dual citizenship.
So
maybe.
he could also be where your parents are from, I guess.
So it could have that, and the plane's
Kind of a
registered
complicated situation.
But interesting. So
yeah,
going to be interesting next couple of days from now. By tomorrow night into Thursday morning, a winter storm watch is posted for the Hill Country. Does not include New Braunfels. Does not include San Antonio. We're going to be right on that line. We're going to tell you how cold it's going to get, who may see a little wintry precipitation, and what's in store for the weekend.
We are battening down the hatches, buttoning things up, making sure that we've covered our plants and our pipes, right?
Making sure for the
And-
4 Ps.
and making
What's
sure-
the 4? Wait, plants, pipes, I guess people
and pets.
right?
We're people.
We're people.
And
so
we're
you
going to
gotta
be
cover
at the
yourself.
cattle drive, and so are you, Mike, on Saturday
Yes.
morning. So I'm going to remind you to wear your long underwear, where you're going to need it.
Just got the electric socks. Battery-powered
Smart
socks.
move.
So,
Yes.
Well, the good news is it's going to be live on KSAT, so you can actually sit at home and watch it.
You can watch it from
But
the
we'd like
warmth
for you to come down and join it.
Come down. I mean, 2 years ago when we had it, the streets were just lined right there on
Oh, it was
Houston
beautiful.
Street. The more people you just kind of get together. So anyway, it is going to be fantastic. We're not going to have any inclement weather Saturday. It's just going to be really, really cold. Thursday's the day things are looking a little bit iffy. This morning we had some fog around here, a little mist, and now a lot of sunshine. It's a beautiful day out there. And as far as, let's just jump right into it. Well, today, low 70s. Tomorrow, low 70s, a little rain. And then tomorrow night, front starts to work its way through here. It's going to be about 10 o'clock or so as it moves through the area. Wind's going to shift around, and we will start to see some freezing temperatures up in northern portions of the Hill Country. And what's interesting is once this comes on through, it's not going to just continue barreling on down to the south. It's almost going to sort of lag a little bit, and so therefore this is what a couple of computer models are also agreeing with, this one in particular, and kind of agree with this, that we're not going to be seeing the freezing temperatures get here in town until probably later on in the afternoon. It will stay freezing in portions of the Hill Country down at the surface. So anything that does fall will either be in the form of sleet and or maybe a little bit of freezing rain. Now, the ground obviously is very, very warm, but it's the elevated surfaces, signs, and of course, the overpasses and bridges that are up in that colder air. So that will be the concern going out 10 in the Hill Country, going up 281 into the Hill Country. But for San Antonio and New Braunfels, it's looking right now, temperatures will stay just above freezing. There may be a little chunky rain thrown in. It's going to be a wet, cold rain, and very windy as well. Now, the other thing that's working out as far as the timing is concerned, we get the rain moving in here, and that's going to be throughout the late day, Wednesday, tomorrow, and then into early Thursday morning. And that continues to kind of change over a little bit in portions of the Hill Country, and there it stays in liquid form here in town. By the time temperatures here in town would drop down closer to freezing, moisture is going to be on out of here. So that's the way everything's kind of coming together couldn't work out more perfectly for that. And actually, there could be a little bit of clearing, especially out in portions of the Hill Country by late Thursday. That's not totally out of the question. Around the country, again, this is going to be a doozy of a storm all the way from Texas all the way up in toward the Great Lakes. We've got this line of brutally cold air, 1 below cut bank, 22 below wind chill right now. That will continue to work its way down on in here. And it's going to stay kind of on the chilly side as we even go into next week. So here's what's going on. There's the massive cold air pushes down in here. There's the front that moves on through, and that disturbance, which is going to be that low, which is going to be producing all the wintry weather up to the north of us. And then we go into the weekend. Stays on the chilly side throughout the weekend. We were watching that low trying to develop out there to the west, which at one point looked like it was going to give us a chance of rain again on Monday. Doesn't look like it's the situation right now. As a matter of fact, long-range computer models really don't have anything as far as another rain chance around here until about 2 weeks from now. not a good situation as far as the rain is concerned. So hopefully we do get some tomorrow evening in the form of rain, and then deal with that a little bit on Thursday. Cold temperatures, though, got to emphasize that. That's what we really have to be concerned with and watch out for, the really cold temperatures Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 72 degrees, partly cloudy skies this afternoon, and then we are going to be up to 70 tomorrow. Some rain off and on, especially in the afternoon tomorrow night. Front moves through. Mix hill country, liquid precipitation as of right now here in town. Then temperatures drop below freezing. Brutally cold Friday, Saturday mornings, windy on Friday, and a cold weekend. Going to wrap things up in just a couple of minutes. Hey, Fiona, do you miss me yet? Hi.
Well, there may or may not be any crepes left over for you by the time you get here.
We heard about this.
Because it's Nutella,
You have to save him some Nutella.
I got you battery-powered socks for Saturday.
I know. That was, that text this morning, I have your socks. That was the sweetest text I've ever gotten first thing in the morning, Mike.
Save him a crepe. Go ahead.
I will. Well, World Nutella Day is this weekend, and Luciano Espinosa from Sweet Paris Creperie and Cafe is here to get us ready for it. What are the do's and don'ts of making a crepe at home?
Well, I can start by saying that as long as you have the perfect batter, you can do a perfect crepe like this one here.
So if you don't have this, can you use a skillet?
You can use a skillet. The only thing I would not recommend you to use is a microwave.
Okay.
Don't use a microwave, please.
All right. And
But
if
a
you
skillet-
don't have that thingamajiggy that you're using, you just kind of...
Pour the batter onto your skillet and then just go, moving your skillet around and you get a perfect crepe also there.
All right, we're going to show off some of those great Nutella creations in a few. Then Amy Lotta shares some fun Valentine's Day crafts, and we're catching up with the man behind this, the grand champion buckle for the Vaquero cook-off from RV Custom Buckles. Look at that right there. All right, all that and more when SA Live continues in just a few minutes.